Hello MMA fans, welcome back to Fight Scene. Look, if you are a returning visitor after watching my EA UFC 3 game review, thank you for coming back. I really appreciate it. Today I have some fight footage of Conor McGregor versus Floyd Money Mayweather. Let's get into it. All right, Floyd's putting up Instagram videos of getting into an octagon, threatening to fight Conor McGregor in MMA. Let's show him what that would look like. One leg kick and it'd be all over. Slips the kick there. Any takedown anytime I wanted would end this fight. Big kick to the head. Shots to the head. He gets up. Oh, it's all over. He can't take those 4-ounce gloves. Look, one of the problems that I had after the boxing match between these two is that obviously Floyd Mayweather won the fight. They both made a ton of money, and all power to them. All respect to Floyd. He's one of the best boxers that's ever lived. But I really had a problem with the boxing fans after the fight. I thought everybody did a good job. I was very impressed with Conor, considering he had never had a professional boxing fight before. But a lot of the boxing fans really came out of the woodwork to say, oh, he's terrible, look how bad he is, look how bad Floyd beat him up. Floyd would beat up any MMA fighter, all these boxing fighters would beat up any MMA fighter, and it just really misses the mark. There's so much to MMA. And boxing, as interesting as that fight was, it is the sport of punching. It's one dimension of mixed martial arts. And these boxers simply wouldn't know how to deal with leg kicks. One kick to the leg and they wouldn't know what to do. One takedown and threatening of submissions or just wrestling would really throw them off their game. You can't just train that in 6 months and then expect to be good in the UFC. And so I thought it was really just off the mark for these boxing fans to disrespect Conor in the way that they did, saying that Floyd would beat him up in any scenario. This exactly what you just saw was what would happen in an MMA fight between these two. All right, that first match was too quick. Let's do a rematch here of Floyd versus Conor. Some kicks, same kick lands to the head, same thing happens. Floyd doesn't know how to deal with the kicks. It's MMA, he's never been kicked before. Throwing up against the cage. Oh, he checks that leg kick. Not so bad. There's another one. Just not sure what to do. Going for the takedown because Floyd would have no idea how to even get back up. Your first day of jiu-jitsu class, you get pinned. Maybe it's a drill where you got to try and get out of a position where you're on your back and you have no idea what you're doing. It's like being a fish out of water. I've said this to some friends before. If you don't know jiu-jitsu, then you really don't know jiu-jitsu. A lot of people think like, oh, I wrestled as a kid with my friends. We goofed around and it's just not the same thing. Everybody thinks that they would know what to do in a situation if they were put on their back or something, but if you've never done it, it's so confusing to be pinned by somebody who's so much smaller than you and feel completely helpless because you don't know the technique to get back up. And like I just said in the previous part of the video, it's not like you can just learn this in 6 months and get back up. Conor's a brown belt, and I know some people have questioned the legitimacy of that brown belt, but trust me, if he got into an MMA fight with Floyd Mayweather, I don't think that this fight would last even close to 30 seconds. Conor would walk in there, blast him with a leg kick once, take him down like you're seeing right here, and just control him on the ground. He would finish him within 10 seconds of getting on the ground. He'd armbar him, he'd choke him. And I know for a lot of you, you're probably thinking I sound like a big Conor fanboy right now. And truthfully, I am a big fan of Conor McGregor. He sort of reignited my interest in the sport. I've been a fan of MMA since 2005, and I follow the sport very closely. It's been really one of the only sports that I've really gotten into, and I'm Canadian and not a big hockey fan, which is pretty much blasphemous around here, but MMA was the one sport that I really gravitated to and loved so much. And so shortly some time after GSP retired, and I can't really pinpoint when that was, I just began to not really be as interested in MMA as I had been in the past. I think Strikeforce had been dissolved, and there were just some things where I just found myself not really watching it. It's when I noticed that MMA was really starting to hit that oversaturation point where there was a card on all the time and some of them weren't very good. We're seeing a lot of that right now. And so I kind of just stopped following the sport as closely as I do now and had in the past. And it was Conor McGregor that had sort of sparked that interest again for me in MMA, and just really being excited to watch pay-per-views and go out to restaurants to watch pay-per-views, or even order them and pay and have parties at my house to watch pay-per-views. That had all been lost for me, and so Conor was one of the people that reignited that passion for the sport. And so I am a big fan of Conor McGregor, but I'm also realistic about his flaws. I'm realistic about his skill level, and I'm realistic about how he did in that boxing fight. You know, Floyd hadn't stopped somebody in what was it, 4 years, and the one stoppage he did have was pretty BS, where the guy was apologizing and he punched him in the face. And so yeah, I mean, Floyd did a great job in that boxing fight. Nobody can deny. And it was a shell of the Floyd Mayweather that we're kind of used to. And it was great that he did come forward like he said he was going to do. But we need to be realistic about what that was. It was one dimension of fighting. It was punching. It's not even one dimension. It's not even striking. It is even a limited form of stand-up combat. And he is great. Maybe we could even call Floyd the best puncher that ever lived, but we can't call him the best fighter that ever lived, because fighting is a lot more than just punching. And Conor McGregor maybe is not the best in the world at fighting. There's a lot of reason to believe that he's not the best fighter in the world. I think that we're going to find out later this year whether Tony Ferguson or Khabib Nurmagomedov, tough name for me to pronounce, we'll see who the best fighter in the world is in their weight division. But Conor is heads and tails above Floyd Mayweather when it comes to fighting. Maybe not when it comes to punching, but when it comes to fighting, Conor McGregor would make very, very short work of Floyd Mayweather in an MMA fight. You've just seen an example of what that would look like. It's funny that he got stopped with leg kicks here. You'll see Conor hands behind the back, big leg kick. Floyd wouldn't know how to deal with this kind of damage. He just hasn't trained it. His legs haven't been conditioned from years and years of kicking heavy bags and being kicked by his sparring partners. So, you know, enough of the rhetoric that Floyd would just beat up Conor in any scenario. That's just simply not the case. And there's the patented strut by Conor McGregor after making short work of Floyd Mayweather. I really appreciate you watching my videos. Thanks for giving me some comments and thumbs up on the EA UFC game review. If you look to the right of the screen here, you're going to see some other videos that might catch your eye. Please take a look at them and let me know what you think. If you disagree with anything that I've said, leave a comment below, and we'll see you next week.